Hello, good morning. I'm going to present Zhou Qi, a PhD researcher from China, who is making a very interesting overview of the earthing techniques in China. He's going to present some of these techniques in this very interesting lecture. We hope you enjoy.
Hello everyone, my name is Zhou Qi and today I would like to talk about the rammed earth techniques in Chinese traditional dwellings. When it comes to the earthen architecture in China, most famous one is Tulou in Fujian province. They were inscribed on the World Heritage List in 2008, represent the high-quality earthen architecture. But in fact, there are many other types of earthen dwellings, and the techniques they are used are very different from those of Tulou. So I will introduce these various techniques and show you their applications in traditional dwellings. Firstly, I classify the rammed earth technique based on the arrangement of wall sections. The walls are often divided into multiple units when they are built. One unit of the wall corresponds to a side block of the formwork is called one section. In general, sections are arranged in two ways, vertically and horizontally. The former include segmented, integral, and multi-segmented construction methods, and the latter refer to the land construction. For each different arrangement, there are different formworks, and they are used in different buildings. Today, I will introduce these techniques from their type, formwork, to their application. The first type I would like to talk about is segmented construction, because it's a very ancient method. It found in the central part of China, which is one of the earliest origins of Chinese civilization, and where the rammed earth was first discovered. The segmented formwork means dividing the wall into several segments, and a segment is formed by stacking sections vertically. This method has another name in Chinese, zhengan. It had been recorded in the literature for a long time. Zhen means standard, which a wooden pole that is set up when the wall is being built. And gan is on the both sides of the wall to keep the earth. It may be referred to the side blocks. From this picture, drawn in the 3rd century, the ramming technique was already very similar to that of today. In the Loess Plateau area, the rafter, thinner logs are used instead of planks, make this construction called rafter method. The end of the rafter near the end stop is tightened with ropes, and the end near the built wall is fixed with a pile of poles. Their upper end is tightened with the twist rope and the lower end is driven into the ground. Wooden wedges are placed between the rafter and the poles to fasten them and facilitate their removal. End stops are located at the end of each segment and control the wall cross sections, which is a trapezoid with a small top and large bottom, making them more stable and allow the foot of the wall to withstand more erosion. Here is how to use it. Firstly, assemble and set up the end stop. Then place the rafter on both sides of the wall. One rafter corresponds to one ramming layer. After the height of one side rafter is rammed, the next one is placed. From about the 4th layer, you can pull out the bottom rafter and place them on the top. Then the rafter can be raised alternately to the desired height. Because of the arid climate here, there is not a lot of wood for construction, so the walls are load-bearing. The rafter were placed directly on the wall, and these were probably the rafter in the formwork. The rafter method is a certain raft technique, often used to build courtyard walls or auxiliary houses. Many fun parts of the building, such as the wall near the window and the doors, or the triangular part of the wall, require the use of adobe or brick to complete. Furthermore, the rafter method also has obvious shortcomings. The gap between the rafter are not rammed, resulting in bad surface quality. Due to the trapezoidal cross-section of the wall, it will take up a lot of interior space in the room, so the inner side of the wall will often be cut into vertical after the wall is built. But this technique is not just for the wall. In fact, it's more adapted to the city and courtyard walls. Big families also use this method to build defensive walls in order to guard their property. This building named Rui'an Fort belonged to a big family, but it's more like a small town. Rammed earth was used for the exterior walls, and adobe and bricks for the interior houses. Here, ramming technique is a little changed. For example, the instops are no longer a hole, but are stacked upward in layers like the side rafter. In addition, two sides of rafter are used to speed up the construction process, reduce the seam, and solve the problem of the corner, making the method more like the construction of a city wall. The next one is integral construction. The length of one segment is extended to the overall length of the wall. This method is mainly distributed to Tibetan area. The composition of its formwork is similar to that of the rafter method, except for the splicing side planks, and the whole formwork is more refined. The side planks move as a whole, and because the large height of a wooden spacer is placed between the two opposite planks to avoid falling inside. It facilitates simultaneous working and allows the wall without vertical joints, so work efficiency and quality are improved. Here is an example of a building of this technique. The Tibetan dwellings in Yunnan province are generally 3 to 4 stories high, with a wooden structure inside and separated from the earthen wall. Because the wooden structure is made of beam and columns, each floor is built separately. As a result, the earthen wall also needs to be built at the same way. So this is the construction process. After the foundation is completed, the walls are first built to the height of 1 story. Then the internal wooden structure is assembled. During this process, the earthen wall also can be dried to increase strength, and some wooden board should be laid on the surface of the first layer of wooden structure to form a stable platform for subsequent construction. Before building the second story of the wall, it's necessary to remove the floating earth on the top surface. Use the sharp end of the rammer to form some concaves and spray some water to humidify the joint surface to increase the contact between the upper and lower stories. Then build the second story of the wall, and the same way for the third and fourth. The stopping of each story allows the wall to dry sufficiently to have a better strength and ensure the safety. At the same time, the wall finished shrinking. It doesn't shrink anymore when it combined with wooden structure. The following is multi-layer segmented construction. Compared with segmented method, it's used to build higher walls. The entire wall is divided into several layers. In the scope of each layer, they are similar, but it needs to solve the problem that the poles are raised. This method is mostly distributed in the Southeast area in China. It's characterized by clear joints in the facade. The joints of segment of upper and lower layer should be staggered to avoid straight joints. In some areas, bamboo and wooden stakes are used between segments to make them more closely connected. For the formwork, the side planks are fixed by poles, just as a segmented construction. But the poles need to be supported by potlucks. In Fujian province, bamboo, which length is equal to the width of the wall, are pre-buried below the top surface. When ramming the second layer, wooden potlucks are inserted into the bamboo and hung out to end out of the wall. The wooden boards are laid on the put log and the poles are placed on them. The upper end of the poles still use twist ropes, and the lower end are fixed with ropes or wires through the wall, where small bamboos are also embedded to facilitate pull out them. This is the dwelling in Fujian province, and this is in the Zhejiang province. The building is about 2 to 3 stories high, and inside is a wooden structure. Unlike the round earth dwelling in Tibetans, the wooden structure here is made of columns and ties. They are usually assembled on the ground, and the whole is erected, and then use a beam to connect them together. So this is the construction process. Firstly, the outside wall are built up to the height of the top, and then the internal wooden structure is assembled. The earthen wall needs to be built before the wooden structure, because it has to dry and shrink in advance. And this time is also for the wooden structure for prepared. Some parts of the wall need to be connected to the wooden structure, so we need to cut some holes and put the wood in when it's assembled. The last one is the land construction method. It means that the whole formwork moves horizontally after typing each section. And here I want to introduce two kinds of formworks. Start with the more famous one. It's used to build tulo in Fujian province. It's characterized by the use of wooden log to fix the side plank. The wooden log is generally composed of 2 vertical and 2 horizontal wooden bars. The vertical ones are curved inside and fixed in the middle with a horizontal bar. Another horizontal bar is pressed down from the top to open the vertical ones to both sides. As a result, the bottom of vertical ones is tightened inward due to the leverage. There are also put logs under the side planks, but much thinner. They support the weight of the formwork and people standing on them, and also to mark the thickness of the wall when placing planks. In some areas, the put logs can be replaced by bamboo wedges to reduce the hole on the wall. There are many kinds of tulo in Fujian province. This is the circle one, and this is the square one. Both of them are mixed with earth and wooden structure. The earthen wall allows for better defense, while the wooden structure allows the eaves to extend for long distance, which protects the earthen wall from the rain. Because in most cases, lime is not added in the earth, so the large eave or the surface plaster is used to protect the wall. Of course, there are exceptions. In the coastal area, where lime concrete is used, the walls are completely impervious to the rain, so there are no large eaves or plaster. For the majority of tulo, earthen walls and wooden structures share the load bearing, so they must be built together. This is the construction process. In order to solve the problem of shrinkage between the two materials, we must rely on experienced craftsmen to anticipate the shrinkage of the earth. One of the solutions is to build the wall slightly higher than the wooden structure, and another is use wedges to pad the pillar and take them away after the earth wall is completely dry. This delicate operation also brings higher difficulty to the construction, so the locals must hire professional teams to do this job. The last type of the formwork also belonging to the land construction. It uses poles for fixing. It is rare to stay in the land construction because every time the formwork is moved, the poles must be restored, which will increase the workload. This method is only seen in the Jianchuan area in Yunnan province. Because earthquake is very frequently here, without the potlock can reduce the weak point of the wall. The formwork here has another feature. No end stop is used, except for the first line, corner, and end of the wall. Therefore, sections is connected by inclined planes, which enhance the connection between them. The advantage is also reflected in the corners and where the partition and the exterior walls meet. The installation of the side planks can be placed along the bay wall of the gable. All these methods can enhance the seismic resistance. Dwellings here always has 2-story high with load-bearing wooden structure inside and earthen wall outside. They are closely integrated with each other because the wooden pillars here are embedded in the wall. Here is the construction process. Firstly, build the wall to the first story. Then is the wooden structure. The wooden structure is similar to the one in Zhejiang province. They are assembled on the ground and then pushed up, so it must be finished as a whole. The columns that embedded in the wall by digging a slot on the vertical surface. Ties were placed between the wooden columns and the earthen wall to keep the air around the column circulating and prevent it from rotting. Then build the wall to the top. It will be necessary to include the wood column in the formwork, and the wall will be closely integrated with the column. Finally, finish the roof and other parts. The shrinkage of the first layer of the earthen wall is easy to solve because it was built before the wood structure. But when it comes to the second story, it's necessary to place some wooden blocks by at once. And after completing the earthen wall, take them away to allow space for the shrink. This is probably the basic situation of rammed earth techniques in China. There must be many more types of formworks and buildings not included. Based on these cases I have studied so far, the height of the wall, the quality requirements, and the manpower diversify the ramming techniques. The rafter method is a more simplified way. Formwork is made of road-shaped material, which is easier to obtain and process than planks. It's more suitable for city and courtyard walls. The integral construction can improve efficiency while achieving the best integrity if there is sufficient manpower. The multi-layered segmented construction has both the quickness of the segmentation, in the meantime solve the problem of height. Land construction is a flexible operation because of small unit and has closer horizontal connection. Most earthen buildings in China are a mixture of earth and wood. The type of wooden structure and the way it's built also affect the construction of the rammed earth. They need to be considered together. When the earth and wood are mixed, different shrinkage of the two kinds of material is a big problem. In traditional way, it can be solved if the earth were built firstly, and if they are built at the same time, the space for shrinkage need to be estimated in advance. Thank you.